So Heather, I just want to dive into it because believe it or not, like I told you yesterday, we could talk all kinds of stuff for 45 minutes and not even get to where we were going to. But can you tell us a little bit about how your organization is structured? So that way we can that way, if anybody's got any questions in the chat, we can ask them of you, or if anybody's got anything similar or they're looking to grow the way that you and Dr. Walker have grown the practice.
Sure. So we currently have 14 brick and mortar offices that we have staff working out of. We have a testing facility in Missouri. We then have about 12 locations that we utilize for testing facilities as well.
You
Um,
say testing, what kind of testing?
we do traumatic brain injury testing.
Okay.
So those locations we are probably at like maybe once a week.
Okay.
The brick and mortar offices we're at either 4 to 5 days a week, depending upon the location.
Nice. So, more or less, how many employees are you wrangling?
We have about 140 employees.
Okay. All right. So in the IRS's vision, in CMS's vision, you are a medium business. Believe it or not, small businesses stops at 50 employees. So that can be pretty fast in healthcare because you got 15 doing billing, right?
Absolutely.
So you got quite a few people there.
Yes, we do.
So how do you, I mean, I know and I know that you've probably heard me call Dr. Walker this, but he is extremely good at figuring an institutional way to do a process and then making it very, very simple to where anybody could do it. Like I joked with him when we were sitting down once, and I was like, "Dude, you're like a Hitler with processes. Like if it's not a process, he doesn't want anybody to do it. It's got to have like 15 processes whittled down to three simple tasks so nobody can screw it up, right? So
Absolutely.
so how do you guys do that with compliance, where by its nature it is not simple? There's not three tasks, it's a lot
Yeah,
of if, thens, and depends.
absolutely. So like there's several ways that we do it. One is EPI compliance has been really, really, really helpful for us in helping us to navigate through and streamline the processes. We use the task reminders, and that's kind of how we built our system to make it work across the board. So we create a binder for each of our locations. They are responsible for putting out the task reminders and getting them completed. And, as everybody knows, when you do a process, it's creating the process is only part of it. Them completing the process is the other part. And then us checking to make sure it's completed is the third part. And so our managers are responsible for each of their offices and making sure that the EPI tasks are completed and put in the binder. And then we have a cross-check system, cross-departmental compliance system that we use where our billing team is involved, our IT team is involved, HR, the directors, and the tasks that are associated with them, they are responsible for checking to make sure periodically that the tasks are completed. So they'll ask for them to send over a task to review. A lot of times the tasks require them to contact the department so they know that they're being completed. But obviously we don't ever want to be caught and assume that people are doing what they're supposed to be doing and not doing it. So
Absolutely. So that's interesting. So you have multiple layers of accountability in your organization between the specialized departments that are not at every location, like you said, like HR and IT and et cetera. And then you have other office managers. So office manager for location one is looking at stuff from location two, and location two is looking at from three, and so on down the line. Is that kind of how it
so
goes, or is it
the
like by
office
stream?
manager is responsible for their office.
Yeah.
We do have so a second piece to it is kind of like what you're talking about. It's our, we call it our audit review process. So on their admin day, they are responsible for auditing different pieces, and one is the compliance piece.
I
So,
just
and not that I am a giant, um, let me find the loophole here, but I'm sure, has anybody tried to, how can I put this? To allude with another office manager to be like, hey, look, man, just go ahead. Like, back in school when, hey, pass your test to your partner and we're going to
Yeah.
peer grade each other, right?
So
And hey,
that's a
man,
really good question.
point.
So actually, no, because they don't know who they're going to be doing a compliance. Like, so for example, if it was my office and you
Mhm.
were reviewing like one of my things that I was sending over, you wouldn't know ahead of time that I was reviewing something in your office. Um,
Gotcha.
so no. And I will tell you, like, we've got the best group of managers I could ever have. So,
No,
they'll
no,
talk
and
themselves
again,
out.
it's just
So,
me. Yeah, it's just me poking holes. You know
no,
how
I get
you know
it.
how I
I get
like
it.
to.
I could see how someone would do that though. So,
I mean,
um,
uh, so then how do you? Because I'm looking at this like this is a model that I'm sure others would like to implement. Um, what was one of the hard things with implementing this level of accountability? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
how do you take the emotion out of all these type A personalities that want to manage, they want to do a good job, and they're very emotional about the outcomes?
So I will tell you when we first implemented it, um, it was very traumatic for some of our managers.
Traumatic.
Yeah,
Wow.
Congratulations, you're a compliance
yes.
officer.
It was definitely traumatic for them. They stressed out about where they're getting the details, about how do they know that the details are what they're supposed to have, and um, how much work it was, and
Mhm.
um, everything, all the pieces of it, they were very stressed out about. But I will tell you, so the initial setup of the process, I'm going to tell you probably a year is stressed, like meaning that everybody's not in the rhythm of it yet. Once they're in the
Absolutely.
rhythm of it, it is smooth sailing. I mean, I don't hear complaints about it at all. I don't hear anybody like, oh my gosh, like, how am I getting this data? Where is this data coming from? Nothing. I like literally, like, when we have or when we have a regional manager go in the office, they look for them. They pull out the book at the front to make sure it's completed, and just don't have any issues with it getting done at all. It
That's
doesn't
good.
take a lot of time. It At first they think it does. They think
Yes.
this is going to be like, oh my
Sticker
gosh,
shock.
the thing on my, yeah. But when they realize, number one, this helps them. Compliance is so important for so many reasons, but mainly, like, one of the things that you had told me when I first started doing this is, like, the more compliant you are, if someone was to come in and to audit us on anything, and they see what a great system that we have put together, the more chances are that they're going to be like, wow, they've got it together. Like, this is like, if we were to make an error, it would truly be an error, and they would know that, because, like, they would
Being
see this
proactive.
process. Exactly. They'd see this process that we have together, and that, we're trying to stay ahead of compliance issues. So,
Honestly,
Awesome.
I love the way you guys truly, utilize EPI compliance to the fullest extent, because that was our goal as well, is to allow mid-sized organizations like yourself that have multiple locations, different satellite managers at each location. But how can we make it so that only that manager can see what they need to see, and then it
and
just speaks to.
I can't say enough great things about Epic Compliance. Like, seriously. So, like, the task reminders, we wouldn't have ever, like, in a million years, been able to create a system like what you guys have. The business associate agreements, like, those, I think, fall between the cracks in a lot of places, and
Yeah.
you make it so seamless to be able to get the associate agreements over to people, get them to sign them, and keep it in an organized structure. And then the support that we've gotten from you guys, we've had to reach out to you guys in the past, and to make sure that we're in compliance with things. And you've given us not only support, but solutions and helped us to figure out how to make those solutions happen. I can't say enough great things about the platform in a whole.
Well,
No, I'm
I'm
glad
sure
to
that
hear that.
Ray appreciates it, you
No,
know.
I'm actually I'm having a flashback. I mean, Ethos, or Heather, you guys have been with us since what, 2019, I want to say.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
been
been a
it's
while.
been 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm having a flashback because Heather was talking about, all the management and that sticker shock factor at first where, wow, this looks like a lot. And I remember when we first were onboarding you guys, we met with all the management and kind of ran through the system. And I mean, the goal was to show them, hey, this is an easy system to use. This is the tools that you have access to. You know, don't feel intimidated. And
yeah,
I think that resonated. And like you said, after the first year, obviously always tough to implement anything really, but I'm glad to hear that. And from what I've seen, I think for the most part, you guys still have the same managements that are
pretty
that are
much. Yeah,
that are in here. So
Well, and
that's
that's
great.
kind of where I wanted to go next, right? Like, so I can't. There's not a day that does not go by where I don't hear, "Hey, it's so hard for me to keep people,"
yeah,
and it's hard for me to really help on that end because at the mental health practice that I'm a partial owner in, I get to control the culture from the top down and from the bottom up. So I know what I'm looking for. But how do you guys keep people for an extended period of time? Because you're always going to have those transitory positions, but how do you keep that core group healthy, if you will, and
yeah.
engaged?
So two things. So from a compliance standpoint, I'm gonna say that even though they like balk and everything at the beginning, your employees love the compliance piece of it. They want to know that they work for a company that puts compliance first. It's job security, it's patient retention, it's all kinds of things. For your providers, it takes anxiety off of them because they're very anxious when they feel like things are not being done ethically. And compliance is so much more important than people realize. On the other side, we have an employee engagement specialist that works for us. We spend the extra money on making sure that our employees have extra resources and that we pour into the employees constantly. So
Employee engagement specialist.
we do.
I like that.
Every time I talk to you, Heather, you and Walker always come up with something that I'm just like, that makes 100% sense. It's just something that I never thought about spending money on because I always attributed that to culture created by the executive team, right? So, what does that, for lack of a better term, morale person do?
So they do lots of different things. And, obviously they're a high paid salary. And so it's an expense that we budgeted for, which the budget of that expense is far exceeds what we would spend on to continue to turn employees.
Yeah.
But our important piece is to build a culture throughout the company that we want. It's hard when you have offices that are not together to keep that
Yes.
family unit, people knowing that you truly care. It's not just like you saying that you care, it's you showing that you care. So his job is to continue to develop the morale, do employee coaching with our staff. He gives coaching sessions to our employees. He puts in new processes to help to develop our employees. We have leadership programs, and we have volunteer type programs and mission um, donations that we make, and all kinds of stuff. So we're building a culture, and he's making sure that that culture is seen, heard, and that the employees' voices are heard.
See, that's right out of Gary V, right? Like I don't know if anybody on here has heard of Gary Vaynerchuk, but
Yeah.
for years I've been listening to him, and he's one guy that was huge on the executive team needs to be the chief culture officers.
Mhm.
And so that way they could give back to the team as much as they expect from the team, right? So because it's hard to get 100% buy-in all the time from a team that honestly is not, they're incentivized through a paycheck, right? They're incentivized through benefits, but they're not incentivized to surpass requirements because they're not owners in most cases, right? So it's that's really interesting. Um, for those smaller practices that cannot outlay someone like that, do you have any tips or tricks? Because I imagine before you had a chief culture officer, it was you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I would say, um, incorporate some type of peer-to-peer recognition. We use a platform called Terryberry, and it allows our employees, yeah, Terryberry.
Harry Berry.
Terry,
Wait, wait,
Terry.
wait, wait, wait. I'm still stuck on the name, Heather. Okay. I
Yes.
want to make sure that we weren't having
We weren't
Harry.
talking about the Steelers, Terry
Yeah.
Bradshaw. We're talking about Terry
Okay. All
Berry.
right. All right. All right. All right.
Yeah,
All right. All right.
yeah.
Okay. All right. I was
Um,
like, just making sure.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so it's great because your employees are not together in the locations, but in this group they are together, and so they can share attaboys and things that happened and things that people said or Google reviews that we get. We post these on Terryberry, and they get points for this, and then their points turn into gift cards.
Okay.
But really, the biggest thing is it keeps you connected with the team as a whole, people that you don't get to see day in and day out. You're like, oh my gosh, I heard that, you had a baby, or I saw that, you helped this patient, and, blah, blah, blah. So it's really cool to kind of really keep the employees connected as a team.
Okay.
I'd say that's one of the biggest things. And then whatever kind of programs that you can create that you can afford. We're doing one for Thanksgiving called Give One, Get One. And basically it's a box that we put together with some just different like side items for Thanksgiving. And then there's a little gift card for Publix. And each of our employees is going to get 2 of those boxes. So one is for them, to show them that we appreciate them and hope that they enjoy their Thanksgiving. And then 2 is to give to someone less fortunate. So they can be a part of the giving piece, because giving is a big piece of ethos. And
Mhm.
so it's one thing to be a part of knowing that your company is giving to different missions, but it's another to be a part of being able to give. And it really makes people feel appreciated. Giving is a totally different piece that allows people to be a part of something bigger. So we just really try to do little things that will let our people know that we care about them, and let them know that we're here for them. So
Cool. So to recap, if I was a small office, I could use something like a WhatsApp or a Teams or a group text, and
they even have Facebook Workplace.
I was gonna
okay.
say it's like almost like a social media for
It
just your
is.
company, you know?
It is. There's all kinds of different platforms, and they're very affordable to do, depending on what the budget is. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So is that just for positive affirmations? Is that also for innovation? Is that also for constructive criticism? Like
great idea.
how do you manage those three with so many varied personalities?
So it is for bright ideas. We want our employees to be able to have a voice, because they are the face of the company. So they are able to submit bright ideas through there. It's for recognition, positive recognition. It's for company announcements. It has links to inner things that we have, like through the Google Drive. So we have like workspaces and stuff that it links to through the Google Drive. So it incorporates all of that, and it's great. So I mean, it's just a way to be able to kind of capture several different pieces of recognition of culture, and of making sure that your voice is in front of the people, and that they know that you're there and supporting them. because as much as hard as you may work behind the scenes, they don't see that. And they need to see and feel that you're right there with them, as much as possible.
So, I mean, I really only have one more question. I don't know if Ray's got any or
I
if
was gonna
anybody.
say I have something that kind of dovetails from this is Heather, I can only assume, an organization with such culture, you promote from within.
We do.
In the event you guys are planning on expanding and opening up new practices, and obviously establishing that compliance culture, is that essentially how you guys go about it? It's sort of next man up, or somebody within your company that's, that that can fill that role?
Basically, so we have what we call an OMIT program, which is Office Manager in Training. So anybody that is interested in getting training to be a leader in the company, even not just an office manager, just a leader in the company, can participate in that program. It's a 12-month program. We definitely do not hire regional managers from outside, or directors from outside. We hire from within. So they all start as an office manager, sometimes with the intention of making them a regional manager, but they have to start as an office manager to learn what we do. And our employee engagement specialist stays in contact with all of our employees to make sure that he knows who is interested in, moving, or who's interested in a different position. And, I think that the biggest thing to remember is that not all positions don't have high turnover, right? So there are positions that people are just in them for a job, and there's nothing you can do about those turning over. But the higher positions, so we consider, like, the office manager position and up, that's important. There are stability in the company. And so, making sure that we continually grow and feed those positions is very important to us. And in all our positions, it's important, but it's essentially very important that those positions continue to pour into our people, because they are our person in the office who's pouring into the people that's in their office.
I think that's so crucial as an employee, just knowing that, if you're coming in, from the get-go, you can take it as far as you want to go,
Absolutely.
and I think that's huge.
Jose, you'd said earlier about Dr. Walker and, how innovative he is and all that other stuff. And this is one of the great things that I love about being here, is that if there is a person that works here and circumstances change for them and they can no longer do the role that they're in, they need, to either change the role, or they need to move, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Dr. Walker is all about, if someone has shown him that they are passionate about what we do and believe in what we do, he will do everything in his power to create a position for that person in the circumstance that they need. In the past, we've created a position for somebody who worked in our Daytona office who had to relocate to Ohio. We didn't have any remote employees at the time. He created a remote position and created a whole role, like a role that didn't even exist, just for her, because of her passion for the company. So I think that's also super important for business owners to know, and to really implement for their staff.
Those are the kinds of things where you don't tell everybody that you did it, but everybody hears about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like,
correct.
It's again, it's reciprocating that loyalty, right? Like, so that's always something that helps with all facets of the business, compliance, otherwise, business growth, customer experience, customer service, just regular engagement in the office with your peers and all that fun stuff. So that's awesome. My one other question, because believe it or not, it's already 2 o'clock. I told you, Heather, this was gonna go fast. I told you. So you obviously have been around with Ethos for quite some time. We've already addressed your age, so that would have put you like 2018. You would have been 18. So
of course, yes.
So what is one thing that you wish you could have gone back and told yourself, hey, this was a bigger deal than you think it is, or this isn't a bigger deal than you think it is, so that way you can get around it, right? Because I like to be able to bring value to all of our viewers, no matter the size organization that they're in. But there may be some people looking to grow as aggressively as Ethos has, and they're at that exponential growth point. So what growing pain would you say would qualify here?
So I would say that, you know, being okay for something to not work out the way you planned, because not everything is going to turn out the way that you anticipate. You know, as we've grown, we've tried things, and as we've tried them, you know, Dr. Walker's gone into it with the mindset that, hey, I'm going to give this, you know, 9 months. And if in 9 months it's not, you know, doing what I need it to do, then guess what? We'll turn and pivot a different direction. And I think that part of being a business owner is the, you know, that's an expense that you have to incur, not just like throwing in the towel because something didn't work out, picking up and pivoting in a different direction.
So patience is what you
Yeah.
would tell yourself.
I would say patience. Patience is so important. Yes.
Let's say be a little bit resilient as well to add to.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. See, I mean, this is easy stuff, you know? So stick with it, guys. Everybody's in the shit with you. And if they're not, well, then they don't know what's going on. All right. Oh man. So yeah, so I mean, this is the time. It's 2 o'clock. So if anybody's got any questions they want to ask, myself or to Ray or to Heather, please put them in the chat. And if not, you know, I'm sure that Heather, Ray, and can keep going here for a few more minutes, and then we'll get going out of everybody's hair. But yeah, I mean, so is there plans to keep aggressively growing? Or do you feel like you're out of that aggressive growth phase and just moving at just a steadier pace? What's next for Ethos?
So I would say that growing at a steady pace. We're in the process of opening up another location. And so slowly behind it, you know, we'll probably be looking for what our next step is. But I'd say, you know, adding a new location maybe every 12 months is probably the goal line, and just continuing to grow.
Interesting. Interesting. And what's next for Heather when she hits her middle age years? Is the plan to stay with Ethos the whole way, or is there do you have any thoughts on opening your own business? Because at this point, I mean, shoot, you probably could be a consultant yourself, just in the Cairo space with all the experience you've got.
Yeah, I love what I do. I love engaging with employees and really just trying to make things work out to a perfect ending. So I'm in this still, and committed to making Ethos grow and making it a better place every day for everybody that's involved, patients, employees, and the whole gamut.
Interesting. Cool. Cool. So,
I
Ray, you got
think
any questions?
I was gonna say I think Heather, you may have a knack for if you ever do get into consulting, helping or practices establish a culture of compliance, especially at the practices like Ethos that are in that growth phase, different locations, different managers at each. I mean, it's you say it like it's an easy thing, but it's not. We know that, and but it sounds like you guys have the formula to that really, you know.
Well, truthfully, thanks to Epi. Like, I mean, really, that's what started it all. So I couldn't have done it without you guys. So that's for sure.
No, we
So
appreciate that.
perfect. So then, Ray, what do we have coming up in the next couple of weeks? Because I know that we normally plan these out a couple weeks ahead of time.
Well, we only have one on the books right now, and that's for next week. We gotta get together and come up with some more topics. And by the way, if anybody that's participated in this webinar today, if you have any suggestions on any topic that we should talk on, please put it in chat. Let us know. Always open to doing so, as long as it's compliance related.
Yeah, Heather, how
But
about this one? You got anything that you want us to go over?
I do not have anything as of right now.
See, the hardest question I asked you. See, this is the
I
hardest question I've
know.
asked you.
I know.
Gosh.
Well, if anything comes up, let us know, even if it's about the system or anything. I
Yep,
mean, we've done some
system.
webinars in the past on talking about the new tasking and sort of the new iteration of our platform. But if there's anything specific, Heather, let us know. We'll talk on it.
I am very curious though to see if the new cybersecurity bill is actually going to pass in this lame duck session after the election.
That is what we're talking about next week with Dr. Delgado.
So that one, all right. So that one's the one we're doing with Dr. Delgado next week.
Yep.
We could potentially do another naughty list right before the holidays.
Yeah, we could do
So
that.
Heather, if you want to jump on and we'll go over some offices that have gotten into trouble with different types of breaches and everything.
Sure, yeah, that'd be great.
Those ones are the ones that I always think are hilarious because it's just ooh, you didn't know that this place is right in your backyard, and you're this list, it updates daily.
Well,
Heather,
that
I don't know
and
if you've seen that
how
that
many
no list.
practices out
That
there that are still unfamiliar with business associate agreements is wow.
and they're big boys getting into trouble. We could go into change, which that one's just one that I just read an article on as well.
We can always revisit change too. We'll get together. We can figure out what we want to do for the month of November and December, I think, and get it planned out.
Yep. Perfect. Well, then
Awesome.
if we don't have any questions, Heather, I want to thank you for coming on, and
Absolutely.
and as I warned you, it was going to be super easy.
Definitely, but very easy.
So perfect. And then Ray, as always, thank you for getting
Yep.
everything on the
No,
tech side. And
yeah, no, absolutely. And obviously for those that may have not been able to attend, we'll be having we'll be editing this onto our YouTube channel. Take about a 24, 48-hour turnaround. But it will be up there and you guys will receive some notifications once that's up on the page. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where we post everything from these webinars. Please check us out and like and subscribe if you haven't already.
cool. Well, then everybody have a good week. Stay out of trouble, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jose. Thank you, Heather, so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Bye.